he talks in a lot of detail about his breakdown and going into Meadowbrook, and he said that you visited him every day. You were like the one person that really stuck by him through that. What was that like?
Well, I just had a breakdown after I'd come back from Ghana. I was halfway through a joint, and the next thing I was in the fish pond in my boxer shorts, and it was hailstoning. And the doctor said he wanted to section me, but my mum and me talked him out of it. Turned out it was the malaria tablets I'd taken, these Larian that got banned later. Wow. But it took me a while, and I was bad for a few months. So and then Paul got sectioned, I was like, just coming out of it. So it's kind of a bit of therapy for myself as well. But I used to go every day and see him. It was just really funny because he used to sit there in a room full of smoke. So he loved it because he was smoking. But he used to tell me about all the different characters and who they thought they were and all that. And we used to have a good laugh. He used to stay for a couple of hours. And it was kind of cathartic for me as well.
Yeah. Did you feel like he was going to get better, or were you worried he wouldn't come out of it?
I was worried he wouldn't come out of it. Yeah, because you don't know mental health, do you? And I didn't know then. We was young. I was still in our 20s. I didn't think he was going to come out of it.
So how was he behaving? What was the behavior like that was weird?
He wasn't that weird. He just looked. He wasn't in himself when we got talking to him. He was fine. He was himself, but he was shaking a lot. Mm-hmm. And he seemed like he just seemed really scared. It like he had shell shock. He was really scared. It was like he was in a trench and he didn't want to go over the top. Honestly, it was like he just seemed really scared all the time. Mm-hmm. Really, really anxious every day, and that didn't seem to get much better.
And what did he look like?
Do you know what? It's weird because what did he look like? He had days where he looked like he was in a psychiatric ward. His beard had grown out, smoking, his eyes weren't there. The textbook symptoms, but then we got talking about stuff. The thing about him is, as you know, amazing memory for things, remembers all sorts of things. And when you go back in the past and his kind of eyes lit up, so he can remembers everything, really strange thing. Like you'd say it's just something benign, and off the cuff something in 1983. And when you said that, and you're like, what? You remembered things like that, which is really bizarre.
Yeah.
So, it's like he kind of always, I got the impression, and it kind of hurt him more than me. And it was a bit with me, but it hurt him more, I could tell, that it was, we knew we'd lost something that we had special as a band, and we was kind of looking back at the good times and kind of reliving them like an old rocker. And I could see that. I could see it really, really ripped him from the inside. I'd kind of had me, but, he took it a lot harder. It was his band.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about the Monday Head thing, because he said that everyone called him Monday Head.
There was a thing in the Beatles where they used to say, where they talk in the Beatles, and it's John Lennon and Ringo, they're going on about McCartney. In every band, there's always someone who's obsessive and drives a band, and you need them. Everyone else in the band, they hate because they do that anyway, but you need them or you never get anything done. Mm. And they're talking about it, and Ringo was saying, yeah, we'd be sat in the garden in the summer in Surrey, and the phone would go, and we'd both look at each other and go, same minute, it's McCartney. And George Harrison says, yeah, Monday, Beetlehead.
Beetlehead.
So I used to call him Monday Head because he was obsessed. I'm only obsessive. I mean, when we first started, we used to rehearse once a week, and I kind of saw it as a hobby. And for the first few years, because I was younger than him, I never took it serious. And there was one night, I didn't even bother going to rehearse because I thought, I'm not going, I was going down to the pub. And he literally kidnapped me on the street. I was walking down the street. It's just for a rehearsal. I was halfway down to Swindon to the pub, and he literally pulled up in his car and dragged me in the car. Said, you've got rehearsals. You know what I mean? So and he was upset. But yeah, he did all the cassettes, he did all the posters, he did everything. It was his band. And I think that's when the fame thing happened and it all turned to Sean, and he lost that kind of power's the wrong word, because it wasn't a power thing with him. The power's the wrong word, but that kind of being in charge and being in control. And he was also very, very good at not doing anything cheesy or corny. He's a good teacher for that, and I've learned a lot since that about never-ending songs with and all that, and all it, and you know what I mean, and fitting certain ways, and never doing all that, and all these kind of cliche endings that musicians do. All bands do them still, even the coolest bands do them. So he was, and once they kind of, and also not really getting the credit for driving us to that point, which he did, and the music. And other people getting credit for stuff he'd done and telling his story. And I think that hit him a lot harder. I mean, it really pissed me off, but I kind of just accepted it and kind of gone with it. Well, I kind of didn't, but it hurt him 10 times more than it hurt me.
Yeah. Do you feel like Sean never really gave him credit for his
Yeah,
position?
Sean never gave me a credit. No, I don't think so. No. Well, I've never heard it. I mean, maybe he might have done on the quiet, but I've never heard him in the press give anyone credit. No.